I'm Don Shanahan.
And I'm Ansel Burch.
And it's
Time to party! We are not doctors. We don't give medical advice. Please drink responsibly. Today's episode was recorded on July 18th, 2024. Guys, what a movie
is right.
I hope you're ready for this. I'm ready for this.
You know, I was about to do the instrumental bit, and for some reason it always comes out as Canon and D.
It's going to be for Elise again. Yeah, or Canon.
It's always Canon and D. Any classical music just comes out of my mouth as Canon and D.
Ben only knows one classical.
Did you ever see, I'm showing my age here, but did you ever see that, is it Rob Parvanian?
Yes.
His rant on Canon
Rob
and D?
Parvanian.
Yeah. Where like every modern pop song has a root that goes right to Pachelbel every time, you know?
Oh,
It's a great rant. He
incredible.
did like at a college comedy show, like in an auditorium. You can tell he's like where they would do lectures and classroom stuff. He's just on a guitar explaining to you how Canon and D's and everything.
that's cool.
We tried so hard to get him to come to our college after that video came out.
Yeah, he was.
We were unsuccessful.
He had to be booking it for a good 2-3 years. Like where he is now, who knows?
Oh,
but,
easily.
like
He's probably still riding
would
that
hope so.
rant. He's just in junior high gyms
that'd be
now.
hilarious. Hey kids, you know, we're here to talk about
Junior
music.
high, where they definitely don't know that music.
I know we're showing our age here.
They're all HOTTOGO. You know, the hot dog song.
I bet you could find
yeah.
I bet you could find a Pachelbel root
You
in
could.
there.
It's there. Dig hard enough.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Did we talk last episode about how Hot to Go is just waiting to become the next commercial theme for Little
That'd be
Caesars?
nice.
That was the last recording. Yeah.
It was okay.
They got to do it. What are they waiting for?
I know.
They gotta.
It
They
sells
gotta.
itself.
If not them, then Nathan's.
That would work. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Who else does hot and ready stuff?
Well, Nathan's does the hot dogs. So
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
Hot
yeah,
ready there.
that's
Maybe
perfect. Yeah.
one of these Nashville hot trendy chicken places could do a play on that.
Oh.
Right? Maybe I don't know.
yeah.
Or one of those fast casual places that like gives you an extra entree to take home for no reason.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Like how Olive Garden's doing that
Trying
now,
to
where
be a
they're
little
just like, here you go.
Maggiano's.
Here's
Yeah.
more in a foil
You
tray.
didn't have enough fettuccine Alfredo? Take another tray home. You know.
Yeah, please. You would not believe how much fettuccine we
Yeah,
got in the back.
Now I just picture like a Scrooge McDuck vault of fettuccine where they're just like, scoop another 2 here. You know,
What are we gonna do with all of this fettuccine?
save it for tomorrow.
fact.
You know,
That's actually on the other side of Ansel's camera.
fettuccine Alfredo.
That's
It's just a
yeah.
pile of fettuccine.
Piles.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
The cats love it.
The kids.
I'm
Yeah.
family, as it turns out.
When you're here, your family. Good call.
Party people, welcome back to Time to Party, where you know your family.
That's right. Hey,
Yeah.
pass the breadsticks.
When you're here, you're family.
When you're here, your family.
Have too many breadsticks. Do it.
That's
It's the Italian version
the
of chips.
best.
You easily have too much. You know.
It's so true. Oh, now I want breadsticks.
I forget every time that they will sell you just a vat of marinara.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they'll take care of that for you.
And apparently they sell the cheese like wheel thingy too, if you ask.
Really?
Oh,
And they'll give you a piece of cheese,
grater
too.
thing.
Well,
The grater
shit.
thing, yeah.
Huh.
Okay. Because that's you can take classiness home. That's where it starts.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Olive
that's how
Garden
you
is
impress
Haven't you
Yeah,
ever
it's
wanted to say to your family, say
when you open that can of SpaghettiOs and Chef Boyardee with the can opener, and then you'd be like, well, you know what this is missing, and you bring out the Olive Garden grinder and like class it up.
Uh-huh.
You know, what a jump of quality.
We had one of those when I was a kid. I wonder if that's where we got it. I doubt it.
I don't know if they sold them then. We probably
did
stole
have
them
one
at
of
that
those.
point. Put this in your purse. You know, just
Yeah.
turns into mom just saying, honey, put that in your.
That was before the waiter would come out
Right,
and do it
right.
for you. They made the mistake of leaving them where you could reach them.
Mhm.
We lost another grinder
Yeah.
today. For those of you unfamiliar with this classic from 1980, Rotten Tomatoes tells us, in 1972, playwright Richard Collier, Christopher Reeve, becomes fascinated by a photo of Elise McKenna, Jane Seymour, a turn-of-the-century stage actress, while staying at the Grand Hotel in Mackinac Island, Michigan. As Richard's obsession grows, he learns from a friend that time travel may actually be possible through hypnosis. Richard travels in time to meet Elise, and the two appear destined to be together. However, Elise's jealous manager, Christopher Plummer, attempts to keep them apart.
I think Rotten Tomatoes is erroneous and awful and horrible to have that score, and I'm even on Rotten Tomatoes, so come on. But I haven't reviewed the movie for that. I need to boost this. How many reviews are on Rotten Tomatoes? 25, 27?
The tomato meter gives it a 52% with 21 reviews.
One review there is like
That's
5
not
points.
enough.
I can get that thing up to 57. All right, gotta write a piece for the for the outlet soon.
Just got to tell some friends. Yeah. Get.
However,
get somebody
the
on
audience score is 88%.
Yeah, see, now we're talking. Yep, that's a lot.
And I do know that there is a fan club called Insight.
There sure is.
The International Network of Somewhere in Time Enthusiasts.
That's been around since like the early 80s, right?
I believe so.
1990.
90. Well, 10-year anniversary.
Okay.
How
All
about that?
Look at that. But Don, are you a card-carrying member?
No, I wish. I should. I could. If that cues me into, Don, how'd you find this movie? Why'd you bring it to this show? So... Yeah, if you need me to go there and transition like that.
That is exactly what I was going for.
I figured. So you know how a term that I hate in the critical community that I have to write for is like when people label things dad movies. Like I just think there's no such thing. They're just manly movies that are mature enough that your dad will watch them instead of some dumbass kid. That's all a dad movie is. Like Top Gun's not a dad movie. It's a cool movie if you let it be a cool movie. But you've got a movie like Somewhere in Time, which is a mom movie for sure. This is a movie that your Days of Our Lives, Young and the Restless, stay-at-home mom would watch this in 1982 on HBO and be like, Christopher was so beautiful and Jane is so good. I wish I was right there. You know, so my parents' generation would be like my parents are 28 when they had me in 1979. So if they were like 29 when this movie came out, or like my friends' parents and all that, like this was their like single married people's wheelhouse movie, yet no one kind of went to see it, which is a shame. But it's one of those movies that just got play where it hung around on cable TV. It became a big boom on VHS and DVD. So this movie was introduced to me when I was old enough to understand romance, or at least was supposed to understand romance, right around high school. It was actually some friends of mine's parents, because we used to go to one person's house the most to like get pizza and play cards, and that was the mom and dad who didn't care if we stayed late because it was safe in their house and not some other crazy place that a 17-year-old could be. So if they're listening, Mr. and Mrs. Gentile, Luigi and Maria, thank you for introducing me to this movie, where they're like, oh Don, this is the movie you want to see, show this to your girlfriend, she'll love it. I'm like, and
had you already seen A Walk in the Clouds?
This would have been, let's see, Walk in the Clouds 96, right around that time, where like that's about the wheelhouse of teen year stuff, where Titanic's around the corner in 97, to be our generation's level of Somewhere in Time movie, where an old lady dreams of the past and her first good lay and stuff like that, and it's just where that's gonna go, because
it has an impact on you.
So I got introduced to that movie in high school, watched it, and I could totally get it. I was a Superman mark back then anyway, where Christopher Reeve was my Superman. That's who I grew up with. That's my favorite superhero. Reeve is the man. Where like
it wasn't Dean Cain.
I got into Dean Cain too, which is just fine. But Reeve was always the best, because it was a movie. It was the Williams music. It was just higher and greater than anything Lois and Clark could do. Lois and Clark was great. Now you say that, and Terry Hatcher is my Lois Lane. That's for sure. Fuck Margot Kidder. But no, this movie hung around where. This is one of those movies where, like, once I realized the power of it, so to speak, I'm like, this movie could get a chick if you wanted to like impress them, because at that point I was like the movie guy. Like I was writing reviews for the high school paper, writing reviews for the college paper. The guy who worked at the video store in college, who brought all the movies to all the dorm room trips. Like Don was the movie hookup person in my dorm. Like they knew to come find me. I had the big VHS collection at the time, like drawers full, shelves full. Like I had nothing else in my dorm room. So guys would come to my room and like to want to borrow a movie all the time, if they didn't want to go to the video store. So, and by the time I worked at the video store, like previously viewed copies are coming my way all the time. So I used to keep a drawer called the Butter Box, where I was like, it was all romantic comedies and romantic dramas, where like, dude, man, because it would be that qualifier. The guy would come to the room and I play like movie sommelier, right? Like, well, what are you in the mood for, man? Like, what are you into? Well, oh, my girls come over tonight. I said, oh, well, I'm just the thing, and I wish I had like one of those like elbow bumping drawers, like the Sex Panther, Musk, and Anchorman. But I had a drawer. That was like just the rom-coms and dramas. Where I'm like, hey, watch one of these movies, and she will be butter in your hands, my friend. Like, you need these. Don't show her fucking The Rock for the 13th time. Don't show her something like that. I'm like, so I had like Somewhere in Time, Ghost, but then I get Basic Instinct. Like, get something with a little bit of sizzle for a couples in there. And I tell you, they worked every time. And this was one of those this is one of those movies where this suggestion came back with a positive effect every time. Like, the guys would be like, it was kind of boring, but like my girl was into it. I'm like, well, good. Then you got to be into it too, right? Come back to me next week. Let's get another movie. So like, I'd have to be that guy.
That's so funny because I was also that guy in college because I had all my DVDs in the dorm, and people would come in all the time being like, hey, do you have this movie? Hey, can I borrow a movie?
I've been able to appreciate it that long, and like getting smarter and older as it goes. Like, obviously once Christopher was injured and then passed, like this movie just kind of gained reverence as it was, because like he shot this right on the heels of Superman, where he was such a big deal and a huge thing, and it was just cool to see an actor that we revere for one thing be able to show another side to performance and acting, because like by that point, like I didn't take a Christopher Reeve deep dive into like Death Trap or Village of the Damned and things like that. Like I just knew Christopher from Superman, but then once this got introduced to me that he was this could have that romantic edge to him, I was like, wow, look at that guy go. And I mean, I knew he had a romantic edge because he sweeps you off your feet with the love theme and all the things he can do as Clark and Superman. But this was really impressive, and it's I'm happy this movie is a time capsule of a time capsule, because like this is a 1980 movie of something that would be and then we're going back to 1912, where if you made this movie today with a 68-year gap, we're talking about like 1956. And like, who would be the actress then? Would probably be like Liz Taylor or Grace Kelly. Like, could you make a Somewhere in Time today? You'd be talking about a 1950s actress, not a stage actress from 1912. It just baffles my mind the passage of time, literally and figuratively, with the 44 years this movie's been around, and then the big time gap to 1912, and then everything you would think of. Like, we always have that joke in the memes of like, if Back to the Future took place today, we'd be in 1994, like stuff like that. Like, we don't think of 1994 as being, soda pop machines and old cars. Like, it's just 1994, but that kind of thing. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is, when you do a remake, you got to wait a little bit longer so that the person he travels back in time to see is Jane Seymour.
That would be cool. Yeah. Back to 1980. You do need a few more years to pull that off, but it'd be cool to see.
It'd be a while, yeah.
I feel like one of the leads in that remake could be Timeless Toni Storm, the AEW Women's World Champion.
Sure.
She's the one that they shoot in black and white, right?
That's the one.
Yeah. I think she should be the lady we were talking about before. She can be the exasperated French lady who comes in and messes with Chris.
Oh, what a great role.
Yeah, she can pull it off. She's got physical chops. Yeah.
So I teased it in the first episode that I may or may not have liked this movie. And I feel like on this podcast, I'm largely positive in my reactions. Wouldn't you say, Ansel?
Generally speaking, yeah.
As a long-time listener.
I feel like I have been the voice of dissent more often than you.
Yeah, but I don't know what it was. I don't know if I've grown jaded in my old age.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
But like, I like to consider myself a romantic, and I tend to enjoy movies like this typically. But just, I don't know, man. A lot of stuff really hit me in like hey, that's a red flag. Hey, that's a red flag.
That's fair.
Hey, that's a huge red flag. Yeah. And now I'm kind of drawn back to this theory that How I Met Your Mother really cements. They call it the Dobler or the Dahmer.
Okay.
Like, speaking of another Chicago.
One of Ben's favorite things to bring back in this show.
So, Lloyd Dobler is a romantic, and like the boombox thing is super cute, right? If the girl is into you.
Exactly.
If not, it's creepy as hell and you look like a serial killer. So while watching this, even though both of them gave phenomenal performances, both Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour were phenomenal. Christopher Plummer also for being the jealous asshole. But it was just like, to me, everything that Collier was doing was creepy as shit.
It counts as that.
And kind of taking advantage of this woman from a different time, and it's, I don't know, when I said the rule, take a hit periodically when you're like, what the fuck, like one of the moments that gave me a big what the fuck was, you have no idea how far I've come to be with you.
Oh my God. Yep.
A real sweet line, right? But the way it was presented, I was just like, bro, you just met her.
I know.
She really should not have gone out with you again. And like, this movie takes place over the course of like a couple days, like right?
2 tops.
Yeah, and she drops the marriage bomb while they're like playfully like, I mean, in the glow.
If Christopher Reeves shows up, you lock that shit down.
Well, that is the era too. Like, you can't advance romantically with someone without marital intentions. Almost like the Bridgerton thing, where like, if you're gonna dance with me and then you're gonna kiss me without anybody looking, we're gonna get married. You kiss me, it's over. We're done. If anyone hears about this, we must get married or else it's adultery. So like, we're still in the, I know it's 100 years after Bridgerton, so to speak, but we're in that era of odd rules and chivalry here. Yet the creepy stuff should be
the
even more amplified
of relationships.
And I do have to clarify to the listeners who may not know, of the 3 individuals on this podcast right now, I am the single one.
True.
And the other 2 are married. So
and Ansel has that smile on his face where he's dropped that line to a woman. Is it you? He's done it. He's done it.
Well, it's well established that I'm a time traveler, so it's it comes in handy.
But no, Ben, I see what you got here, where like, you can mix this into like an SNL skit where like, tone is everything. Like, if you if there wasn't the John Barry sweep, this would be like, what the fuck's going on? If this wasn't Superman, the year after he played Superman, the most wholesome hero in the world, we're like, what the fuck, So, no, this would, in different hands, this fails miserably. Totally, I can see
would not have, well, and I saw one review that talked about how close they came to turning it into a screwball comedy.
Ooh, and that would play too, right? Like, you couldn't do it with Christopher, and I don't think you can do it with Jane. Maybe you can do it with Jane. I feel
like you could keep Jane Seymour and just like swap out. I don't know, like
if it was like if it was like a Some Like It Hot situation, I feel like it could have played a little bit better to me.
Okay,
but like, I do see that a lot of people really hold this movie in a reverent place, but because like the music is so sweeping and epic, and I just felt like a love to match that didn't show up.
Hard to get that in 2 days.
It was just kind of
you really have to buy into somehow Christopher Reeve's character really does have this true connection across time and goes to pursue it, and you have to like buy into that premise, otherwise the whole rest of it is creepy and weird. Like, because
again, when he first sees that portrait of her, there's no nameplate or anything. He literally knows nothing about her other than she's a hot woman.
Well, there is also the like time loop of it all, where she she sees him and says, come back, come find me. And that's, that incites the whole thing. And so there's like a destiny element to it, which feels a little ham-fisted to modern that wouldn't sensibilities. But I think if you buy into the destiny of it all, it's a little bit less challenging to accept.
And I think I would have been fine with it had the ending been different also.
Tell me more there.
Yep.
Because you go through all that and then they don't even end up together. Like, you have this whole thing about romance and destiny, and fighting the odds, and then he just dies from not eating for a few days.
That's how the
Yep.
best ones go, man. Like Jack dies in the end of Titanic. Like
Sure.
Rick and Ilsa aren't together
It's
in
a
Casablanca. Like the best one, some of the best romances are the unrequited or the breakup movies. They're like it. Those are the ones.
Casablanca is the perfect thing to bring up because I was thinking about that, and Rick and Elsa don't end up together, but it's so masterfully done. I think the way that it happens really makes up for the fact that they don't end up together. Here, it's almost anticlimactic how they don't end up together. Arthur finds him in his room, like catatonic. Like I just
The heaven sequence and the callback to the music doesn't do it for you with one more slow mo hat takeoff. No, doesn't do it
they
for you.
just they
That's not
they
the
have
walking
to.
the ship in Titanic moment. Come on.
I mean, there are a ton of parallels to this in Titanic now that I'm seeing it. I'm just like after watching this,
Yeah,
I'm just like, man, James Cameron loved this movie.
there's a lot to it. In
probably.
maybe this will help. In the book, the original Richard Matheson novel. Now Richard Matheson wrote What Dreams May Come, I Am Legend. Like he's a 70s. I don't want to say pulp writer, but he kind of did a bit of everything, and a lot of it's been turned into movies. In the original book, Richard Collier has a brain tumor where he does this out of the "What else am I going to do with my life?" moment. Like this is dying wish level stuff for him, where
Oh
he
my
finds out
God.
he finds out he does not have long to live, and has been obsessed with this what this lady was for this whole time. And like, I'm gonna go do this. Like, I'm gonna give up theater. I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna figure this out. Where that's how he dies in the end, is the brain tumor more than starvation and sweaty in a hotel room.
That would have been so much better.
Yeah,
That would have upped the stakes a lot more.
a brain tumor. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
then we're
do
in love
think
story level with like and there's another one. Let me tell you, it's not a time travel movie, but there's the that's your grandparents one, like Ryan O'Neal, Ally McGraw, and cancer. Like so. Yeah, you need that one where
And what was the title of that one?
love story.
Oh, just Love Story. Okay.
Yeah. So that's Ryan O'Neal and McGraw, they meet in college. She's an art girl. He's a jock, a rich jock. They shouldn't be together. They decide to make it a go as a couple, only for her to have cancer and die at a young age. And it's that tragic cancer ending movie that became also with like Henry Mancini music that's as good as this music,
Oh.
where it for that generation 10 years earlier in 1970, that's the other like Young Love.
that was their walk to remember.
That was their walk. Yeah,
You
that's
can't
their walk.
burn that hot for long sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, the ending tragedy thing, where like the best ones, sometimes the most powerful ones, are the ones where they can't be together or it
Sure.
won't get together. So
Yeah, and I love stuff like that. Like one
too.
of my favorite romantic comedies is Chasing Amy because they don't end up together.
Yeah.
But it fits so well. And of course, there's a whole other conversation to be had about Chasing Amy, but like,
Oh, sure.
not the podcast right now.
Going beyond the creepiness, like what else kind of sunk the movie a little bit for you?
The time travel mechanism.
It's a shitty mechanism. I'll go with you there.
Self-hypnosis.
Yeah,
And
it's a
then the
little much.
sequence of him doing it was so drawn out.
Took a little bit. In a movie that's
took a
still
while.
under 2 hours, like
Yes.
it's moving good.
Yeah,
but
it's just over 100 minutes.
But no,
which
that's
is great. But
that's 4 hard minutes there of
yeah,
beating his head against the wall, trying to remove all the 1970s-ness of the hotel room, and then all he had to do was put the tape recorder away, and like it's a little much there.
When he ended up talking to his old professor and like when they were explaining it, I'm just like, are you fucking shitting me?
We're going there.
Self-hypnosis.
You just have to really want it. Yeah.
If it were magic, I would have appreciated it
I
more.
know.
If there was some mystical element,
I assume on Rotten Tomatoes, I know on Wikipedia, this is labeled as a science fiction movie.
Oh,
where but again, pass the salt for sure. Yeah, there's some grains here. Ansel, how were you with the mechanism?
I also thought the mechanism was a little weak, but ultimately I thought it was novel enough that I liked it.
Okay.
We've certainly seen people sort of will themselves through time in other ways. It usually does involve, some magic element or finding the, you really, really wanted to go. And so they, found somebody who made a device or whatever. So that does happen. But I think this is the only one where you just lie down and go, I wish I was in the past. And if you want it hard enough, you get there.
I will
which
say,
is impressive.
I will say it is extremely relatable to want to disassociate enough that you want to feel like you're in a different time. Because, you know, there are some days in this country right now where I want to feel that.
I hear you.
I mean,
could
why else
get
do we
into a
escape
car
into
and
time
Owen
travel
Wilson
movies?
your way?
Coincidentally, I feel like the closest mechanism like this is what you all just recently covered in Greatest Hits, where like an accident triggers him, not unlike a brain tumor in this novel, but like all it takes is a song, a suggestion, a reminder to go to a spot. And this one's obviously a little more, like I said, ham-fisted yet charming, but it's not that far removed from, or I should say the other way around. Greatest Hits isn't that far removed from something like this.
That's a really great parallel.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Because it's just her going through it. No one else is doing what Christopher Reeve's doing, and no one else is doing what.
And you could, in exactly the same way, you could ask yourself: is Christopher Reeves hallucinating the whole thing?
Could very well be. That's kind of the fun of this. Is like, for all you know, he never left the room. Like that's my theory with like Joker, is that you never leave that white room with Joaquin Phoenix and whatever story he's telling the doctor. You know, like the movie doesn't happen. It's in his head. It's the story he's telling at the therapy table. Like I'm that guy about Phillips's movies. So, yeah.
Man, I was so mad at Phillips after that movie.
I'm
still mad at Phillips after that.
You get a sequel this fall. Good luck.
God, fucking.
Whether we like it or not.
Whether we like it or not. I will say that after you pointed that out, I did remember that in Endgame, in Avengers Endgame, they did mention Somewhere in Time as one of the seminal time travel movies, you know, along with Back to the Future, etc. And I could see how this would work as a foundational time travel media, you know, and like you said, the Greatest Hits basically does this, but it like elevates the idea. You know, builds on it, I should say. So I think Somewhere
and for her it's a curse too.
Correct.
So like
Somewhere in Time is a good foundational piece, but it also has one of the worst henchman beatdowns in the history of cinema.
Yeah, like two punches in the gut and you drop Christopher Reeve, 6'4", 210. Come on, no way.
And then you tie him up and leave him in the barn, like.
Yeah, they needed a bigger guy. That's all.
You need
or three of them.
Bring the boys.
Yeah, exactly. Have three of them throw punches instead of just the one guy.
Yeah, I wanted them to like. I wanted like a Superman 2 moment where like just for fun, it's Christopher Reeve. Like he goes for the belly punch and he just stands there and like like breaks the hand. Like you punched your man, motherfucker. What do you expect? You know, you better bring some more guys. You know. Yeah, that'd be funny.
Slight tangent.
Okay.
As two married men. How would you? Yes. How would you describe your love in your relationships?
Oh boy. Ansel, how long have you been married?
It's coming up on 14 years.
He's got me beat by a year, so he goes first. I'm 13.
Oh, okay. Oh, damn. How do you mean, like qualitatively or like what kind of descriptor are we looking for?
So we did describe like the intention of Somewhere in Time to be this sweeping romance, you know, like this epic romance.
Yeah.
But like, for instance, if you were to compare your love to a movie,
if my love story had been a film, we would definitely be more in the like screwball comedy, rom-com side of things, because we met at a Renaissance fair. We, you know, like we had theming and weird characters and silly costumes and accents and the whole thing. So like
just like Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, well,
just like Christopher Reeve.
Sure.
We were history bounding. Yeah.
Okay.
We were probably 10 years out of date with our suits too.
Maybe. My wife and I, we met later than most folks. We met in our 30s. We're both school teachers. Where it was, we were the interoffice romance. I was the 4th grade teacher. She was the kindergarten teacher. She was the the good Christian Asian city girl. I was the country boy working in a different place and the transplant. So, and we are now this, you know, multiracial family where with the in-laws come over and like but we're not like, but it's not like crazy rich Asians in the Joy Luck Club. It's not like we're not zoomingly, weirdly, flamingly successful, and we're not like doldrums of Asian immigrant hardship of Joy Luck Club. We're somewhere in between with the melting pot of things. And she married a
Sort
movie
of
dork.
big fat Greek wedding
That
vibe.
that's probably about our vibe. Yeah, big fat Chinese wedding. Yeah, that'd be about right. But yeah, because oh my gosh, yeah, her family's enormous. My family's tiny. That's exactly what we are. Because I am the white guy and the tallest person in the room at 5'9" everywhere I go. It's crazy, So, and I'm not tall. Yeah, that's a great comp. Big fat Greek wedding would be us. Only insert different demographic
That's
or
awesome.
ethnicity.
Now,
Are
another.
we destiny through time? Is that where you're trying to go? Like, is she my soulmate? Are we going there?
Well, I wasn't
Or did
necessarily
we
going there.
yeah.
I was just, trying to think
If
of.
Tab is listening, yes, yeah, Tab
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, baby. Time. I would travel through time for you, even though you
Mhm.
time traveled on the couch last night watching the movie. Yeah, like tapped her in. Oh, it's 12:30. Yeah, it's 12:30. Let's go to bed, baby. Yeah, so, yeah. She time travels with me all the time. It's called sleeping. Yeah. Mhm.
Now, love at first sight.
Ooh,
Is that something that you subscribe to still?
I do. I had that. Like,
Really
I asked
impressive.
her out. Oh man, within the first couple weeks of school, September 11th that year.
Wow.
So yeah, I met her maybe 2 weeks before that, where I'm like, that's somebody. Like, how am I gonna get her on a date? Oh yeah, I was there.
So you definitely did connect with Collier as he walked by that portrait the first time.
That's different though. Like I met like what attracted me on the whole love at first sight with me thing with my future wife was how she carried herself with people, how she carried herself as a teacher. Like she's a kindergarten teacher who gets a guitar out and plays with kids. Like she's adorable. It was her personality and behavior more than her picture. Like
Mm.
that wasn't the draw. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not saying Elise McKenna is a Playhouse centerfold that that Richard opens, but it's to the leap there. The grain of salt that I hear you kind of going for is like, could a picture do that to you?
Mm.
That's a good question. It's a good
Mhm.
question.
Well, and again, I think
The author
that
went
there's a
there.
little bit of that destiny stuck in there as well.
Yeah.
Like, she comes to him and then he sees the portrait.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think we're meant to understand that he's connected those dots.
Well, in good old fashioned research levels of things, like he doesn't put two and two together till he finds the old lady's picture when researching the woman in the other picture. Like at the library where he opens the book and he has that pause, another slow mo moment where he's taking a sip. Like when he sees the old lady, her final photograph, only then does he put it together that that's the old woman who he saw 8 years ago. It's
Yeah,
that's
no,
the
you're
that's
right.
the that's the spot, that's the moment, which is a movie moment, but it works. We know the whole time. We have a pretty good feeling the whole time it's her, but he doesn't know that. Yeah, fall in love with the picture though, huh?
Hmm.
The author did that. Richard Matheson wrote
Yeah,
this.
it's gonna say,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was at the Coronado Hotel, the famous hotel in San Diego, where they did Some Like It Hot, and
Love that hotel.
yeah, I've never been there, but I hear it's amazing.
It is gorgeous.
He saw a picture of stage actress Maud Adams, and it was just that that's how he got the idea of the book. It's like he was just transfixed by her image. Wow, the look on her face, the strength, the stoicism, but still the beauty and the acting and the presence, and wrote the book with that in mind. And I think he stayed in that hotel for 2 weeks and wrote it just like that, like a Agatha Christie style, like hole yourself up on the Nile and write it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool. I
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
The more you're talking about the author and the book, I
Book's not
feel
bad.
like the book is better than the movie.
It's the book is the brain tumor framing device helps, and it's not so. He died from sweat and malnourishment. Like, I'm trying to think if the book has that whole like heaven sequence, because like that's a movie moment for sure. That last
Oh
in
yeah.
the fucking fog room and the white and all that.
You know they did a test screening and everybody was like, but
Yeah, you
what?
can't end
Huh?
on him sitting in a chair rotting away in the hotel looking out the window.
Yeah.
You can't end there. The other thing is it's a sexier book than the movie. Like you can tell they have a love scene in the movie, but like the book like descriptively makes it a love scene. Like goes there like describing nipples and everything like that, like good old fashioned romance novels used to do. So well, I guess they still do now. There's plenty of hot and
Fan
bothered
fiction.
novels that are out there. Fan
Oh
fiction,
yeah.
yeah. But so the book gets more romantic. It is again it's set in San Diego, so you have a little bit more beach, a little bit more this and that. You still have the Christopher Plummer character is prominent for sure, and I think it gets to business about as fast as this one does. Like it's the arc you're seeing of meeting the old woman, a little bit of time, successful playwright, figuring out time travel, get the hypnotism right, and then get there. It's about that same third of the movie. Yeah.
All right. Which makes sense. You want to give
Yeah.
it a little bit of
Yeah.
air to breathe,
You can't show up 10 minutes after the movie starts in 1912 and buy that. So
Sure.
Yeah, no.
This isn't deja vu where you go right into it.
yeah. Oh no. Hey, lube me up a little bit, buddy. Come on now. Yeah, too fast.
Yeah, dude,
Hey,
we
Tony
don't have
Scott-
time.
Yeah.
Tony Scott can't waste time like that.
Nope.
No, never. He's already sweaty. He's got
Got to keep those thriller paces going.
right. I'll go a couple places in the movie department where Bill Irwin as the old guy working in the hotel, the bellhop guy who when you go back in time as a little kid playing with the ball.
Oh my god, that was the drinking rule. I
Arthur,
forgot.
What are we talking
Oh
about?
my god, I was gonna say take a drink every time you feel bad for Arthur.
Arthur does get woken up in the middle of the night by a crazy Richard Collier banging on the bungalow door, like,
And then
yeah,
the ball in the lobby, like, bro,
Tears in the
he's
couch.
6.
Yeah, I know.
Dude.
Yeah, Arthur
dude.
does get it pretty bad, but
Yeah.
no, Bill Irwin's a nice touch in this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's neat that you have a character who has been able to span all of that time, and obviously he had to start as a 5-year-old kid. But I love the just that hiccup of a moment you realize comes later, where when he first checks in Christopher, and Christopher does the line "See you around, Arthur," and we don't witness that line when he's a kid till later, but like when Arthur turns around and goes like, no way, is that the guy, like that, the nice guy who showed me kindness when I was 5, like, but like there's that little hiccup of deja vu moment which is really cute, and I think the other thing that has to be said in review of the film is the music. John
Of
Barry was
course.
on another level here, and he would start this era where like this like liquid love kind of level of music that he would just put to sweep is like he would go here, and then it, like obviously he did his Bond stuff, but like Out of Africa's coming, Dances with Wolves is coming, like his he cornered the market of like just of strings, like
Epic
Well,
string.
Yeah.
epic strings. Like Williams had the
Nails it.
brass, but Barry had the strings, and then to incorporate the piano from I think it's Richard. I forgot what
Roger
Bergman,
Williams.
Roger Williams came in and did the piano pieces here, and like I guess the story is he did this movie on a lark as a favor to Jane Seymour because the movie did not have a big budget. It came out during an actor strike, coincidentally, where it got no marketing and lead up because Universal really wanted all the marketing to go to Blues Brothers at the time. So
Wow.
this movie got dumped where with no PR and press. It died in the theaters very quickly, and again, it found its audience later. But like, like Barry isn't in this movie as a composer unless Gene Seymour talks him into it, taking a pay cut because he was big enough at the time where that's a get. And then the soundtrack was a massive hit where like no one thought the soundtrack was coming until the record company's like, we need to stir this one up, and like they didn't like. I guess the soundtrack, or I read the history where they there's not a soundtrack of like from the movie, like it's extra orchestras had to come back to shoot, to play something that they can put on an album and call it the soundtrack. If you pull any old recordings from the movie, I think La La Land Records did a really fancy remaster, like $40 CD, like about 5 or 6 years ago, where like that's kind of like the one. Everything else is kind of like alternate clips and retreads and things that were more expansive enough to fit on a CD. But like this was a gold record back when it came out. So yeah.
I mean, the soundtrack is so phenomenal. This is
It makes me it makes me want to look like what was up for score that year in the Oscars. If I can
Oh,
speed that fast here,
Oh
1981
yeah.
Oscars.
Well,
Like
while
what
you're
was it up
looking that
against?
up,
What's that?
well, if you got it already.
I'm gonna go fast here. Original score. If I can find the awards here quick. You stall while I while I look here quick.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
close.
So I was going to ask while you're looking
Yeah.
that up. How do we feel about the Rachmaninoff of it all?
I
Is it kind of hacky to put in such a famous piece, or does that like anchor the whole thing?
I'll
I
put
feel like
anchor.
it acts as an anchor to the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It. Uh, I think it really captures the mood really well. Despite not enjoying what's happening,
Mm-hmm.
but like the music was painted perfectly into this picture.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if the Rachmaninoff piece is where they started. If they were playing that during screenwriting, if they were playing
Yeah.
that during
Good
editing,
question.
and if they were like, yeah, this song just freaking works. Can
Mm-hmm.
you work around it?
Yeah.
And John Barry's like, yeah, I mean, that saves me like 20 minutes of runtime if you play it 4
Right.
times. So
That also might be why it's not an original score, because it molds too much of existing material, I realize. So um the 5 nominees that year for original score, the winner was Fame, and I get why. I mean, that's a
oh,
Mhm.
huge
sure.
musical movie at the time. Altered States by John Corigliano, The
Mhm.
Elephant Man from John Morris, Empire Strikes Back from John Williams, and
Yes.
Tessa's
Oh,
score by Philippe Sardet. So yeah, if this is one of those disqualifications because you have too much Rachmaninoff in it, I get it.
Sure.
But we've seen this before and since. Like you've got Adiago for strings and Platoon. You've got
sure.
Romeo and Juliet goes there plenty. Different movies will grab a piece and just stick with it. Like I think the True Grit score from Carter Burwell in 2010 got disqualified because it borrowed an old church hymn and put it in the background too much and
Mm.
wasn't
Hmm.
original. And so it happens a little bit. But yeah, I'm a guy who will assign the anchor status to it. Like, but it's it's not as, I don't want to say on the nose. Well, I mean, it's on the nose, but it's not quite like as time goes by. Like a song that,
Sure.
because even that song in 1942 was like
Mhm.
a 10-year-old hit. Like us talking about a 2010 song now in some movie is like our song, or Nelly Furtado showing up in Greatest Hits. Like,
Mhm.
just a song from then that is our song then, that can be transported now. And how do you pull that off? And it is eerie that Collier's got that, like, that's his favorite record back in his place in 1978. So like it's going there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One really quick thing that I just wanted to point out while I was looking into the history of this movie and stuff like that. Two incredible actors have very small roles in this movie. In fact, one was completely cut out during editing.
Uh-huh. I know these
You
two.
will
What?
not know.
I
You will
will,
not
but
guess.
yeah, no. And so
Uh
you try.
Oh, I should try.
I mean, I know the
Okay.
answer to this already, but
Danny DeVito.
oh, that
I
would
would
be
say
awesome.
close in stature and circumference.
Oh,
In
all right.
circumference,
All right.
definitely.
Circumference
But
to DeVito.
yeah,
What,
Don's
Rodney
picking up
Dangerfield?
Don's
No.
picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
The lovable George Wendt
Mhm.
Oh, really?
played a student in as a hotel guest, but his appearance was cut during
Yeah.
editing. However, William H. Macy made it
Mhm.
into the movie as a critic in the
Where?
1972 scene.
Yeah, and the opening scene with the old lady.
Oh.
I didn't rewind it last night to pick up on him, but I heard it, and he's credited W.M. Macy. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
right before Elise hands the watch to Richard, you
Mhm.
see William H. Macy.
Did he have like his Pleasantville flat cut, haircut?
The
'Cause, like, I feel
shoveler
like,
himself.
yeah, I feel like for a while there, that was his look frozen in time, because he looked like that in like Mr. Holland's Opus. He looked like that
Oh, yeah.
he just had the flat top going.
That was what William H. Macy
he
looked
was
like
1950s bad guy.
My
Yeah.
God, Mr.
20 solid
Holland's
years.
Opus. I just need
Mhm.
to
Are we
to
venting
reflect on that
another?
for a second, because
Uh-oh.
I love Mr. Holland's Opus
Okay, thank goodness.
so much.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah, school
how
teacher
do you
over
not?
here. It's
It is
it's
one
emotional
of my,
manipulation in the
Yes.
highest order.
It is one of my absolute feel good movies. It's like one of those movies like Sister Act 2 or Rudy that you can just put
Oh,
on
yeah.
at any point in the movie and like absolutely like fall in love with it all over
Yeah.
again.
And so you said the word manipulation. Is I feel like we're getting that here with Somewhere in Time, where Ben's right. Essentially, at brass tacks, this is a creeper of a movie. This is a
Oh
stalker
yeah.
movie, but we buy it because performance, stature of the man
Mm-hmm.
playing it,
Hmm.
and then the manipulation of let's make it pretty. Let's put everyone in costume. Let's put the Rachmaninoff on. Let's go to a grand hotel called the Grand Hotel in a far off place and make everything with sweep. Is that the now? I'm one of those people where like I think every movie manipulates you because it's supposed to.
Sure.
That's that's the point. Yeah.
To me, that's the point. Like, is this one a criminal of it or a champion of it?
I think this is a champion because of the era. I feel like this is so much of its time
Yeah.
in the way that it's doing that. And I think about movies that are going to emotionally manipulate me now,
Yeah.
and they're the ones that are like, you can tell from the trailer that this is intending to make you cry.
Yeah.
You're like, that dog's not making it. That dog's not making it through this movie. This is that's the level of emotional manipulation that I like to like call out
Okay.
frequently, especially in anticipation of a movie. Because sometimes that's exactly what you want. You want to go to the movie to feel
Yeah.
something. You need some catharsis. Get you a movie that gets you to that place, and nothing will do it better because it's the perfect summation of writing and music and the visual arts all at once. It is movies are so powerful in that way. To grant us that catharsis, and they can do it, as you're saying, through this combination of media that you just don't get any other way.
Yeah. I think you touched on it in that when you want something like that, when you want to feel it, you're going to buy into it a little bit more, right? When I was young, I want to say pre-high school, right
Okay.
before high school, I went on a student ambassador trip to Italy, France, Austria, and Switzerland. And our very first stop was Paris.
Ooh.
And if you're in love, Paris is one of the most phenomenal cities to go to. But if you're not in love, you're just seeing everyone else in love. And you're just like, what the fuck? Get a fucking room. I just want to take a picture of the Eiffel Tower, damn it.
Trying to see the Arc de Triomphe. Could you move or something?
Exactly. Yeah. Can I just have my Royale with cheese in peace, please? Like, so I almost feel like I'm having a similar reaction to this because I wasn't really in the right headspace to really open up to an overly lovey type of movie.
Yeah.
And I think if I were in a different headspace, if I was more prepared for it, maybe I might be gushing over it like you both kind of are. But
yeah. I think the other thing,
I wouldn't gush over this movie. I will admit that I had challenges with getting all the way into it.
Okay.
Mostly due to the, like, as we talked about, the weakness of the time travel
it is
mechanism, and the sort of, as you call it out, I didn't watch this movie until we watched it for the pod.
Likewise.
So I don't have any going back memories to tie this to.
I got to be that guy. All right.
So I also I watched this movie and I went, that's a little creepy. I have in my notes, nothing like being infantilized to set the mood. I wrote that in my notes.
That's fair. Oh boy. Yeah.
But I think that it overcame that in a lot of moments for me. Like, it didn't sweep me the whole way through, but I was able to get there in the long run due to, again, being, given such a beautiful score, such beautiful scenery, like enough of that investment from these incredible actors. It got there in the end for me.
Yeah.
But I will admit to not having been swept the whole way through.
So while we're on that topic, I guess, we can ask our big question of the podcast,
That's right. The reason we're here.
Yeah. Is Somewhere in Time worth your time? And I feel like I know Don's answer.
I do. Yeah. I think I'll go first. I wholeheartedly think it is because of a couple things. Um one, the sweep. This is movie making, gauzy lens, Vaseline over everything sweep. Like, they don't make movies like this anymore, let alone time travel movies like this anymore, or go back to 1912 all that much anymore. Like I said, a double layered time capsule this movie is now, because it's 44 years old itself, and the whole thing is 100 and something years old. So that's worth it for one. And then the other thing is, the other thing that makes it worth it is, and this is a complaint I've been putting on my podcast lately, is like, the actors nowadays, especially kind of our heroes now, like I'll even call out the Marvel heroes. There's a whole crop of actors now that don't have a good rom-com or don't have a good romantic drama on their resume.
Well, I will say that I didn't enjoy it as much as some others on this podcast. I will say that it is worth your time if you're a filmmaker, if you're a writer, if you're very into the time travel genre.
Mhm.
If you are seeking something like this, then it's worth your time. If
Yeah.
you're the average Joe who stumbles upon it on Freevee just because
Oof.
you recognize Christopher Reeve as Superman,
Yeah.
you're gonna get a surprise.
Gonna have a weird night. Yeah.
You're right. This takes a mood. You got to go. I'm going there. Pass the tissues. Get the wine. Yeah. Or
Yes.
it's your breakup movie. Like, it's the Bridget Jones movie that she watches when she's sad and mad. So
Yeah.
what
I
one-
need
one of
some
those two places-
catharsis.
Yeah,
Good.
catharsis is darn right. Yeah.
There you have it, party people. That is our very very in-depth conversation about Somewhere in Time. Oh, that was a good conversation. I loved that.
Mhm.
That was as much as
Very
it
good.
went all over the place as we tend to do, but I think that was a very good
Oh
conversation.
no.
Oh
Content.
no.
Dear, what will you ever do?
My God.
Record it
See-
and put it out in the world. Okay.
But see, party people, this just goes to show even further that Don is very good at his job as
I
both
try.
a film critic and a teacher, for showing us things
Oh, yeah.
that we may not have seen initially in this. So you can find me on the internet. I'm at Silverio20 on Instagram, X, whatever.
You can find me, Don Shanahan, Casablanca Don, all one word, on Twitter and probably Facebook. My work is on Every Movie Has a Lesson. I am the editor-in-chief of Film Obsessive, and I'm the co-host of the Cinephile Hissy Fit podcast.
And I am at The Indecisionist on all of the socials that I can be bothered to be on. And you can check out my work on my website at indecisionist.com, including the monthly gaming event, TTRPG Pickup Con. Check it out at week of release. It's sign-up weekend for the upcoming con. So head on over there to ttrpgpickup.com to get your spot.
Yeah, play with Ansel. You can.
That's what he meant.
I know. Yeah. Little diddle. Yeah. Come on over here, buddy. Yeah. Yeah.
You can join the conversation by using the hashtag time2party. That's time the number 2 party.
And time the number 2 party, all spelled out, thanks to Warwick.
Ah, man. Somewhere in time.
Somewhere in time.
As we drift off somewhere in time
Yeah.
before our next episode next week, which is when you should come back, because it's edutainment.
Edutain.
And we have an actual teacher this time. So
Oh dear.
Two.
High bar. Okay.
so we
Gather, kids. I'm the Stingray from Finding Nemo. Gather. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Mr. Ray.
Gather. Photo. I
Touch
forgot
the
what he says.
butt.
Like, photo something plankton. Gather. You're like, I don't know how he does it, but he does it.
Well, while you prepare your notebooks or your note-taking apparatuses, because
Empty
I'm
your
old.
pockets.
Yeah. Whatever you use to take notes on, make sure you have those next
Cocktail
week.
napkin.
Until then, be excellent to each other.
And party on, dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yo. Back to Canon and D. Yeah. Thanks, Mark. That's what you gave us.
That's the song,
Protagonist
right?
Rob P. That's the one.
Yep,
Yeah, I
that's
nailed
the
it.
song.
Yeah.
It's amazing your ability to immediately access the soundtrack of every film we've ever done.
It was either gonna be that or ba 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 ba.
Oh boy.
That. I've been watching How I Met Your Mother. What do you want from me?
Okay.
All right, that was a long boy,
That's
huh?
not what I wanted.
I know. Sorry.